Alright, let's look at the first mistake. You see you had a 9 instead of 1 over 9 for the final answer. So if we try to solve this problem, I would multiply everything by the lowest common denominator. In this case, it's 10. So let's multiply the first one by 10. This would be 10 times 4 over 10 x. And then multiply 10 by 4, that would be 40. So that's 40x. Multiply 10 times 6, 60. And 60 divided by 5 is 12. So that would be 12. And this is equal to 10 times 40. 40 over 5 is 8. So notice now we don't have any more. These will cancel. So this would be 4x minus 40x plus 12 equals 8. So let's simplify. If you simplify here, you will end up with 4x minus 40x. That's negative 36x. You subtract 12 from both sides. 8 minus 12 is negative 4. So the next thing, we need to divide both sides by negative 36. And so x would be negative, negative, positive. 4 by 4 is 1. 36 by 4 is 9. So 1 over 9, final answer. You had number 4, blank. So let's go over number 4. The second side of a triangular deck. So we have a deck here. And so let's just draw a triangle. So the second side of a triangle deck is 5 feet longer than the shortest side. So let's say the shortest side is x. So the second side would be 5 feet longer. So x plus 5. Okay, so this is the shortest side. And this is the second side. What else do we have here? And the third side is 5 feet shorter than twice the length of the shorter side. So it's 5 feet shorter than twice the length of the shorter side. So twice the length of the shorter side is x, and it's 5 feet shorter. So that would be the third side. So 5 feet shorter than twice the length of the shortest side. If the perimeter is 64, what's the perimeter? The sum is 64. So x plus 2x, 2x plus 2x is 4x. 5 minus 5 is 0, and that's equal to 64. So the shortest side would be 64 divided by 4. So 6 by 4 is 1, remainder is 2, 24 by 4 is 6. So that's the shortest side, 16. Now the second would be 16 plus 5, that's 21. And the third would be 16 times 2, 32. 32 minus 5 is 27. So that's how they figure out the three sides. Let's try number 5 again. On number 5, we have a distance problem. And let's try to solve this problem. Maria drove to a business appointment at 90 miles per hour. So let's say, assume she's going to travel on, let's see here, shapes. Let's see, she traveled this much. Maria traveled this much, and the speed is 90 miles per hour. So we have a 90 miles per hour here. Her average speed at the return trip in this was 80 miles per hour. So going to the business 90 miles, coming back 80 miles per hour. The return trip took 1/8 hour longer. So if this one took t hours, this one will take t plus 1/8 hours. Okay, you see the return trip took 1/8 hour longer because of heavy traffic. How far did she travel to the appointment? So you see the same distance. So let's say distance equals rate times time. What's the distance equals rate time? Rate is 80, times is t plus 1 over 8. So 80 times t plus 1 over 8 equals 90t. So you just do the rate times the time. We said the way to the business was faster, so she only took t hours because she was going 90 miles per hour. On the way back, she was slowing down to 80 miles per hour, and it took her t plus 1 over 8. So all we have to do, 80 times t is 80t, and here we have 90t. So if we subtract 80t from both sides, we only get 10t here. And 80 times 1 is 80 over 8 is 10. So 10t equals 10, so t is 1 hour. If the time is 1 hour times 90, that would be the distance. So the distance would be 90 times 1, which would be 90 miles. So that's all what we have to find. So as you see, we use this formula here, distance equals rate times time, and we found t, the time. The time t is 1 hour. And if you multiply the time times the rate, you get the distance, which is, now you can use this one, 1 plus 1 over 8 times 80 also will get 90 miles. All right, let's try number 6. On number 6, we are going to work on the chemistry problem or the percent problems. How many gallons of 80%? X gallons, 80% must be mixed with 80 gallons, 10%. So here we have 80 gallons, and this is 10%, so we're mixing these two. So these two, we are going to mix them, and we will end up with a solution mixture that is 70%. So the solution here is going to be x plus 80, and the mixture is 70%. So all we have to do the pure antifreeze, which is here 80% of x would be 0.8x, and 10% of 80 would be 0.1 times 80. 70% is 0.7 times x plus 80. And if you solve, okay, so you have 0.8x, 0.1 times 80 is 8, 0.7x, and 0.7 times 80 is 56. Okay, because 7 times 8, 56, the 0 and the decimal will cancel. So 0.8 minus 0.7 is 0.1x, 56 minus 8 is 48. And so divide both sides by 0.1, x would be 480. So divide here by 0.1, divide here by 0.1, and that's the answer, 480. So all you have to do, you find the pure acid before equals pure acid after. How do we find the pure antifreeze? So 80% of x plus 10% of 80. What is 80% of x? It's 0.8 times x. 10% of 80 is 0.1 times 80. And then 70% of x plus 8. So all you have to do, multiply, distribute the 0.7, and then isolate the x. Number 10. In this problem, you have to use the square root property. And what is the square root property? X squared equals 196. X, you do the square root on both sides. That should be plus or minus the square root of 196, which is plus or minus 14. Because 14 times 14 is 196. Now why plus or minus? Because negative 14 times negative 14 equals 196. Also 14 times 14 equals 196. So you can't only say, oh, the answer is 14, because also negative 14 times negative 14 is 196. All right, let's try the next mistake. That would be number 12. Solve the equation using the quadratic formula. So they already tell us to use the quadratic formula, so we're not going to try to do the trial and error. So minus b would be negative 3 plus or minus square root of b squared, which is 9, negative 3 times negative 3, minus 4ac. 4 times a is 1, 1r squared, times c, which is negative 2. And the whole thing should be divided by 2 times a, but a is 1, so just 2. So now all we have to do is simplify. Minus 3 over 2, plus or minus, what is 9 plus 12? See, this is, or 8, that's 4 times 2. So 9 plus 8, 17, right? 9 plus 8, 17. So that's going to be square root of 17 over 2. That's the final answer. Let's see here. Minus 3 plus square root of 17 over 2. Minus 3 minus square root of 17 over 2. So they don't like it this way. You have to split it. So one value would be minus 3 plus square root of 17 over 2. And the other one would be minus 3 minus square root of 17 over 2. But both of these are the true solutions for this problem. Let's try number 15. On number 15, we have to solve, so we multiply everything by the lowest common denominator, which is 3 times x minus 3. So let's multiply the first term, the second term, and the third term by 3 times x minus 3. So we're going to multiply it by all these. So this would be 3x plus 6 over 3 minus 4x over x minus 3 equals x. So if you multiply the 3 times x minus 3 times the first one, this 3 will cancel only. Only this 3 will cancel. So then we have to multiply x minus 3 times, we can take 3 as common factor here, 3 times x plus 2. Remember 3, x, and 3 times 2, 6, so you come back. Minus, here if you multiply the 3x minus 3 times the second term, the x minus 3 will cancel, and then you have to multiply 3 times negative 4x, negative 12x. On the last one, nothing will cancel, so we have to multiply 3 times x minus 3 times x. So 3x times x minus 3 would be the right side. All right, let's simplify here. Notice that 3, 3, 3, we can simplify. This by 3 would be 4, and this by 3 will cancel. So we end up with x squared. This is 2x minus 3x is negative x, and negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Minus 4x equals x squared, x times negative 3, negative 3x. Notice the x squared here and the x squared here will cancel if you subtract. So here we have negative x, negative 4x. And then if we move it to the other side, it becomes 5x minus 3x, it would be 2x. And this is only left with negative 6. So divide both sides by 2, x would be negative 3. Now x equals negative 3, if you put x equals negative 3 here, negative 3 is negative 6. It's not going to make it 0, right? So that means negative 3 is the final answer. Again, all I did is multiply everything by 3 times x minus 3, and I simplified, and I canceled, and I solved for x, and I got negative 3. Let's try 16. Exactly the same. We can do the same thing here. We can multiply both sides by 3x, right? Because the common denominator is 3. You can also cross multiply. So whichever you like. Let's cross multiply. 2x minus 6 times 3. So we have 3 times 2x minus 6 equals x times x minus 3. X times x minus 3. Nothing we can simplify. Let's just distribute. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. So if you move everything to the right side, you're going to have to subtract and add 18. Subtract negative 6x, add 18. These two will cancel, so that's a 0. On the right side, we're going to get x squared minus 9x plus 18. And if you see here, 6 and 3 would be a good solution. X minus 6, x minus 3. The product is 18. The sum is negative 9. So x equals 6 or x equals 3. But notice if you have x equals 3 or x equals 6, nothing will make it 0. So we're going to take both solutions. So you put 6 only. But we can have 3 also. 3 is not going to make the denominator 0. You only disregard one of the solution if it will make denominator 0. In this case, none of them will make denominator 0. The next mistake is number 21 and 22. Let's try 21. On number 21, it's an absolute value. So let's isolate the absolute value first. So that would be 2x plus 9. Move the 14 to the right side, add 14. This will cancel. 14 minus 1, 13. Less than 13. So in a case when you have less, then it should be in between. So you can change this absolute value to 2x plus 9 less than 13 and greater than minus 13. And then solve. If you solve this problem, you need to subtract 9 from all sides. So 13 plus 9 is 22. So we have negative 22. Less than 2x. 9 minus 9 will cancel. And 13 minus 9 is 4. We want x by itself. Let's divide everything by 2. So this would be, we don't flip because we're dividing by a positive number. And this is negative 11. And if you want to write this in interval notation, it would be parentheses negative 11, comma 2. Why parentheses? Because this is less. It's not less than or equal. If this was less than or equal, then we use square bracket. This is called the lower bound, and this is the upper bound. Okay, lower bound is negative 11. The upper bound is 2 in the interval notation. That would be the final answer. All right, the last problem is number 22. And that would be the show work. All right, the show work, we have to, lengths of a side of a plot are such that the first leg is 7 miles shorter. So I'll leave this problem for you to think about it, and if you want to submit as the, but you don't have to submit this one. You can submit any other two.